of research we're going to be looking at is case studies. I've sort of talked about this before. But it might be a product of our focus on rational education and on science within the Australian education system, and with probably most Western and sort of newly modern education systems. We tend to focus on science, and we see research as being scientific research, medical research, and research that involves stats and statistical generalizability. And that's not the type of research we're going to be looking at. That type of research is helpful if we're going to make policy decisions about how companies on the most part behave, but it gives us very little information about the details of organisational life and the details of how accounting works in organisations and the role of accounting in organisations. So we're going to use cases like GM, Laura Ashley, because it gives us the detail, the personal accounts of managers in their dealings with particular issues. And research is great because it presents the newest, freshest, not just data, but ideas. Research in this case-based, more humanities, ethnographic approach to research doesn't just bring data about a case, but also an analysis about, an opinion about what's going on within companies and what's going on with management accounting. And what we see is that management accounting is as much about the discussions and political processes that shape it and develop it as it is about the outcome. What we see from the outside of an organisation is just the formal face of management accounting, the reports or the mission statements. But what we're going to study is the processes by which these things come to be. But I don't want this research to be so current and so fresh that it makes it completely ununderstandable or indigestible. Who knows? But indigestible. I don't want it to be so far-flung and so far philosophically advanced that we don't have any sort of foothold into what's come before it, so we're just left in this sort of in the dark. So I'm going to take classic papers that are easily digestible, easily understandable, and we're going to use those to get a very, very rich understanding of management accounting issues. So what is current issues in management accounting, Dan? What is it in total? The most recent problems with management accounting as explained through research. So that's what it's about. It's about the contemporary puzzles that researchers tried to solve and look at in management accounting. And what we're trying to do is rethink the practice and the context of management accounting. We're not trying to solve problems, or we will attempt, but we won't assume that we can. And we're merely trying to create a better understanding of what's going on out there. And in doing so, my goal is to develop a wisdom in you that relates to organisational life. So however you're going to deal with organisations in the future, whether you're going to be a student or you're going to be a customer that deals with organisations, an employee or a manager or a shareholder, whatever your role, whatever your interaction with organisations is, I want this course to educate your position in that, your relationship in that, give you a better understanding of the goals of organisations, the problems with organisations, the dysfunctional behaviour, the politics, all these things that we tend to gloss over, we tend to sanitise and forget about when we teach business. We teach business from a very ideal standpoint. We teach it as an ideal more than what it actually is in practice. So that's what I'm going to try and address here. So the next slide is titled An Account of Myself, so that will just be stuff about who I am, Max Baker, what my work experience is, but because this video is potentially going to be on a public forum, I won't talk about that. Let's move on to the next slide. Okay, we're looking at the weekly requirements now. I don't want to dwell too much about what they entail. We can talk about them more in the lecture or the tutes. But I'm just going to run you through the process of what I expect each week. Come to the lecture first. The lecture is the first point of call. I will have distilled down the readings into a very digestible format for you to understand. I will draw out the essence and try and explain it as best I can in that hour. Then you will read the particular reading. There will be one mandatory reading and 3 supplementary or 2 supplementary readings. So the minimum is the mandatory reading. Absolutely don't accept anything less than that. That is a small amount of readings for a subject like this. Now, it is a small amount in volume, but those particular readings are challenging. They're challenging to engage with, they're challenging to read, the level of English is quite there. That's why I made it clear when I told students about this course that it does require quite good language skills. Now, the readings are not cakewalks. So they are, some of them are just mind-bending and they're just amazing. And I really encourage you to enjoy the readings more than anything else. Do not treat them like a chore because they're going to just be the hardest chore to do. And the readings are designed to expand your thinking, not to learn the points, but to get an essence of it, to try and get the insights or the understanding of the author. And then the supplementaries are for developing that with more detail or creating more perspectives about that particular set of phenomena. And so each week is looking at a different phenomena. I really should be saying that next week we're going to be looking at total quality management. Then after that we're going to be looking at the recruitment process. Then after that we're going to be looking at strategy. Then after that we're going to be looking at stakeholder engagement. Then after that we're going to be looking at corporate social responsibility and morality within organisations. Then after that we're going to be looking at intangible asset accounting and all. So a different week, a different subject, but you'll find that philosophically, theoretically, the same frameworks that we develop will work in each week. I will call them meta frameworks, if you will. And then there will be, so you will go away, you'll read the reading, then you'll come back in the tute, which the tute will be the week that follows the lecture, then the week after the lecture, and you'll do a mini 5-question mini test. That's just to get an understanding. They're not going to be hard tests, but it's to prove to me that you've done the reading and that you understand it. And one group will do a presentation each week. So that the second week, the week that you do the test, you'll also have a presentation in the same topic. And a group is 2 people, no more, otherwise there's going to be shirking that goes on. And you will answer a series of presentation questions. So, and then we'll be doing a tute, in which we'll have a discussion, mostly discussion. I'd like you to read the tute questions before you turn up, but really your homework is to understand the reading and come up with some ideas and questions about the reading and be able to answer a test about the reading. And the presentation, I consider it to be a big project. It's going to require lots of research, working on your presentation skills. It needs to be probably one of the best presentations you're ever going to do at uni. And so that's going to take, so the first half an hour the first hour is going to be the test and also the presentation, and maybe the next hour to 1.5 hours will be the tutorial work. And we do the questions in groups. I'll set you up as groups, a different group each week, and I want you to be like consulting teams coming up with an answer, sort of applying your understanding and knowledge of the readings to the particular questions. And as we can see from the assessment task matrix, we don't call things boxes anymore, we call them matrices. We're looking at assessment tasks, weightings and submission dates. We have the weekly test, that's 20%. The research presentation that's assigned, I'll give you the week that you need to present in, also 20%. A big component is tutorial contributions, so you're marked 10% for your discussions and what you add to the class. I will give you a mark every week. I'm not sure whether I'm going to do a scale 3-2-1 or 2-1 scale, but 3 being outstanding, 2 being you did some talking, and no, I probably will do 2, which is outstanding, 1 if you said something, and 0 if you didn't say anything. And if you didn't turn up, you'll also get 0. And the 3-hour examination will be at the end, and I will give you pretty much verbatim what a lot of that exam is going to be. I will give you the essay component of that exam, which will be, I think, 40% of the exam. I will tell you what the essay question is and what it's about ahead of time so you can practice.